Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone to the FPL Jedi Show. This is Gameweek 1 Deadline stream. Finally, the opening season of 25-26 is here. My name is Hafiz and I would like to welcome my co-host Azmin to the stream. How are you?
I'm actually sleepy, ngantuk sikit. But we can get through it, no problem. We can still got an issue, but I think I'm just happy that I've more or less pretty much finalized my team because in this sleepy state, I might be prone to making mistakes if I try to finalize it now.
Right, I think we are at the verge of finalizing our team. We are 1.5 hours away from the deadline. This at 12 a.m. Malaysian time right now, and the deadline will be at 1:30 a.m. Pretty excited, but also nervous, man, because the last minute thinking or finalizing team can be crucial. Hopefully, we don't make any mistakes. So, what do you think, Ming?
Well, the good thing is because there's really only one match that could have any late news. So, I doubt there'll be anything suddenly saying, someone like Watkins or Palmer is suddenly injured. We're not likely to get that kind of news now. So it won't be so bad for those who choose to stay on, especially in this part of the world where the deadline will be at 1:30 in the morning, I think.
Yep,
Yes.
yep.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully there's no surprises in the first week.
Right. We will definitely walk through the pressure by managers for the past 2 days, and we will look at the predicted lineups from Fantasy Football Scout as we try to guide all managers who are watching with us the best team lineup, and hopefully it will help you finalizing your game week one team. I think let's jump to it, Min. But
Yep.
before we look at those team news, may I remind you the game week one fixture, the opening week for season 25-26. As you all know, there will be Friday night match between Liverpool and Bournemouth, the EPL league champions will face Bournemouth. So I think that's the opening. Pretty excited because all eyes are on the Liverpool players, and most likely a lot of managers will captain Mo Salah. And then on Saturday night we have Aston Villa versus Newcastle. I think that's the opening for a Saturday kickoff lunchtime, and then we have like few matches at 10 p.m. normally Malaysian time. Brighton versus Fulham. We have Forest versus Brentford. We have the promoted side Sunderland against West Ham, and then we have Spurs, the finalists of the Super Cup, who lost on penalty kick against PSG. They face at home against Burnley, and then Wolves versus Man City, who are going to fight against on track to be the champion for 25-26. There are plenty on that later in terms of team news. Then we have Chelsea and Palace London derby on Sunday before the Sunday midnight game, the Super Sunday, Manchester United and Arsenal. I'm pretty much excited to see both lineup and how those two teams will fight each other at this early stage of the season. And then we close off match week one with Monday night match. Leeds United will welcome Everton at their turf. So quickly, in terms of match week one, we know some exciting matches here. Pretty much which one you're looking forward to?
Very much the Manchester United Arsenal match because when you look at it, it's you're looking at two Manchester United very almost totally revamped attack. On the other side, you have Arsenal, who again finished one rank short last season, so they've finally reinforced in terms of having Gyökeres in terms of striker, and they've still reinforced the midfield in which for me is one of the most could prove the most significant transfer, which is Zubimendi. Now, if you remember, Zubimendi was a player that Liverpool were linked and tried to get last season, and we didn't get, and now he's gone to Arsenal instead. Yeah, I just feel he's like he helps complete the jigsaw puzzle, and Arsenal could really do well and challenge properly this time around. That's the match that I'm for Manchester United, it becomes a grudge match. It is at home at the Theatre of Dreams, so they want to show that we've refreshed under Amorim. We're gonna do well, so they need to put a statement. On the Arsenal side as well, they still need to make a statement. So that means it's gonna be a fiery match with maybe a bit of a goal fest, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, let's jump to the team news. We start off with the Liverpool versus Bournemouth. We are feeling everyone should be healthy, but I think we should read out in terms of who are available from both sides. Over to you.
Right. So for Liverpool, it really is just McAllister being back fit. Of course, the question of Connor Bradley, it looks like he won't be ready. All the rumors indicate so. So Frimpong, there's a good chance that Frimpong will probably get to play for the first three, or at least start for the first three matches before the international break. Yeah, and then we have to worry about Connor Bradley returning. So he has 3 weeks to actually do well, and he can do well if people watch the Community Shield. We saw how he was really pushed up quite a lot compared to Kerkez on the other side. So Kerkez was more withdrawn compared to Frimpong. Then everyone else is there, except of course Gravenberch will be there. So the predicted lineup, I feel that it should be McAllister and Szoboszlai rather than Szoboszlai and Jones.
Okay. All right.
I think that he's ready to play. The front line should stay. Of course, transfer window still open. This could change by next week. But yeah, at the moment, that's almost the best lineup that Liverpool can put up, except for Gravenberch. On the Bournemouth side, we do. If you remember, Bournemouth's defense was pretty much demolished and refreshed and restarted. So Zabani was the latest one to leave. Now only Senesi is left from that original four, or Kerkez, who's facing Liverpool, and Hutchison as well. So even the keepers changed as well. No more Kepa, so now it's Petrovic. Evanescen, Semenyo lead the line. It looks as though Kluivert is back, but it looks like he could at the most be on the bench. Otara is also being linked away, but looks like he could still start for this one. So we saw Liverpool's deficiencies in attack, in defense, and at the same time not being able to finish off the opponent that led to the defeat. On Bournemouth's side, the personnel has changed, but it's the good thing is still under Iraola, so he's very familiar with the squad and knows what makes it tick. So I do think that Liverpool will concede, but I still think Liverpool at home, first match of the season, they should do enough to win.
Yep, I expect Liverpool to win, and I'm expecting to win big. It's kind of like 3-1, 4-1 score lineup, but I'm a bit optimistic on that because we know the capability of Liverpool side. Nothing to touch. I just recap. Gravenberch is suspended. That's why Szoboszlai, Jones or McAllister could start this match. But pretty much the rest of the team should be the same lineup as the Community Shield. For Bournemouth side, Cook is suspended for Gameweek 1. Bournemouth will have pretty much a new back lineup, Petrovic and the rest. DKT, the newly signed up for Bournemouth, could start this game, partner with Senesi. Dango could miss out if, let's say, it's been confirmed leaving for Brentford. Pretty much that could be the story. But I think there's plenty of Bournemouth players that could come in. Maybe Brooks, so I'm not sure whether who's the other guy could be fit for this Bournemouth game. I think that's the predicted lineup for both. Okay, before we go to next one, we would like to welcome FPL Hippie. to the stream. Thank you for joining the
Hey.
stream.
So FPLP ones are my acquaintances from Blue Sky. Thanks for tuning in. Very happy to see you here. Hope you have fun.
Right. Let's go to the next match, which is the Aston Villa versus Newcastle. On paper, both can be a tight match. We know rumors from Andy Howe mentioning that Isaac will be not involved in the team. I think another particular player from Aston Villa that the people are also looking forward to in terms of team news is Morgan Rogers. So what you can update me in terms of both teams?
Yeah, so the Morgan Rogers, suddenly being fit is a bit of a throwing a spanner into the works for me, because I don't have any Villa team. One of the reasons was because of Rogers, and now Rogers is back, and suddenly, that team suddenly looks so much better again. So the only thing, of course, Martinez is suspended. Yeah, so that is going to be an issue. On that Garcia Buckley injured, so no biggie. On the Newcastle side, so it is about Anthony Gordon, isn't it? So we're not sure what's the story whether or not he's fit. Otherwise, he would be the one most likely to lead the line. Yeah. So, but of course, everyone else is fine. Yeah, and let's not forget Newcastle still has one of the best midfield combinations in Bruno and Tonali, so I feel it would be a good match. So this match is a bit of a grudge match for those of us who remember last season Newcastle stole the Champions League spot from Villa. So I think this is something they're gonna a bit of a payback needed here. And I do feel this is a match that could be quite a bit of goals in it. And I just want to pipe up Harvey Barnes as someone who regularly scores against Villa. I need to drag out stats. Maybe we can take a look later at my team, because I don't have him in my team. So it is a bit of a punt on my side, but because Harvey Barnes traditionally does well against Aston Villa, and given that Isaac's not around, so pushing Gordon up, which helps confirm that Barnes should be starting. Yeah, and of course Jacob Murphy on the right side. The question is, because they do have Elanga, but will Elanga start over Murphy? I do think that Murphy will still start. Let's face it, he helped Newcastle get into the Champions League. He did really well. So Elanga shouldn't just simply get a ticket in just because they brought him in. So I do feel that Jacob Murphy will start this one, and Elanga will come in as a sub.
All right. So if let's say Anthony Gordon is not ready, I can still remember who else can play. Callum Wilson is not there. William Osula, who can come in at his price. If you are interested to know, if I'm right, is at 4.5 million, potentially playing up front for Newcastle. So I think that can be into conversation. If let's say I said, maybe I just ask personal opinion to Azmin. Is there any way that Isaac could return back to this Newcastle lineup if, I don't know, the rumors is going to Liverpool, but is there any case that if that transfer doesn't happen, what will happen to Isaac's situation?
Yeah, can't say. Rumor has that he's even sold his house. I don't know whether or not that's true, but can never say never. They could always, caught back, and because it's a World Cup year, and Isaac wouldn't want to just hang around doing nothing, training. It's gonna be tough. But at the same time, I do think that Newcastle is resigned to losing him, so they're just gonna drag it out a bit more and get a better bid and finally sell the player. Originally, to be honest, when the whole thing started, I was pissed off with Isaac. I felt he wasn't being fair to Newcastle. That Newcastle picked him up when he wasn't much in this previous league, and then he had to ride on through these injuries. It was only last season that he really blew up like no one's business. Or the season before, not so bad, but last season was huge. And then suddenly he's throwing a stroke, wanting to leave for and of course with Liverpool showing interest, then he wants to leave. But I don't know, because whether or not there's another side of the story saying there were promises made to Isaac at the start of the season, and those weren't fulfilled. So I don't know what the true story is, and I'm not sure we'll ever know what the true story is. But I would think that there's no chance of Isaac playing for Newcastle again. That's my honest opinion.
All right. So then can be excellent pick if let's say Gordon can play up front. I just want to correct myself. William Osula priced at 5.5, not 4.5. So you just need to pay a bit.
The problem with Gordon is that when he doesn't do well up front. That's the thing. But of course, he may also be on penalties. I'm not sure, so that might be a reason to bring him out. But yeah,
at 7.5.
Yeah, as a midfielder, it's not bad. Just a quick mention to Jacob Ramsey, who is crossed over from Aston Villa to Newcastle.
Yes.
So he doesn't look like he's going to be a regular starter. I mean, he's not going to be able to dislodge that 3-man midfield, which is really tight as ducks. But unless there's a change of formation, so it'll be interesting to see if Jacob Ramsey comes on at Villa.
All right. Maybe we just touch here predicted lineup for Newcastle. Pope starts, but it could easily be Ramsdale, right? I think he did involved in the pre-season match, so it will be a toss-up between those two. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I could. So my best is to just avoid until we see what's on Howie's mind when he brought up Ramsdale. Just avoid. Yeah. I just want to mention that Tillmans is quite a bit of a sleeper pick there. We do know he makes goals, and he may be the one who takes penalties. We still don't know what's the situation.
Right. So you can afford Rodgers, or you're thinking someone from Aston Villa side. 6.0 Tillmans is really tempted in terms of taking a bit of enabler in midfield. So he can offer some good value for sure. Next. Team news, man. Brighton versus Fulham. A lot of Brighton players are leaving the team for other team, and one of the players, Carlos Baleba, also have been heavily linked with Manchester United. But at the same time, for Fulham, Marco Silva did mention during his presser that he is a bit frustrated in terms of the transfer movement at Fulham. So what's the latest?
Okay, so for Brighton, Brighton's a Premier League factory line, they keep coming in, coming out, and it's no biggie. People like Trossard, Caicedo, they just continue to cycle and come in and come out, which is fine for Brighton. It is, I think they did great business model there, accepting that no player will ever be permanent. We shouldn't, get angry and just move on and make some money and then go back in. So yeah, Carlos Baleba should still play. He's still lighted and no issues, and he's not throwing a fit anyway. So the only thing is for Brighton is the case of the situation between Georgina Rutter and Danny Welbeck. So Rutter was used a lot during preseason, so it does feel as though Herzler is preparing for life without Welbeck. Welbeck this year, I think, is already 34 years old, so he's slowing down even a bit more. So in this predicted lineup, he's got it Rutter playing up top. So, but it could just as well be Rutter playing behind at number 10 and Welbeck playing at 9. And then once Welbeck retires, then Rutter moves forward to the top. So it is possible. I just want to mention De Kuiper, another popular cheap pick, another traditional bombarding fullback is there as well. So that's one. And then on the Fulham side, so Robinson, one of the key players of Fulham, is out and back soon. It looks like I wouldn't be surprised if he only came back after the first international break. So Sesenyon's back could be late call. Muniz, he's been talked about possibly leaving, but we do know that Silva, whatever team he puts up in the last game, tends to be the same. So Raul Jimenez started, so it looks like he will start this game. Special mention to Josh King, a possible enabler at 4.5 million. He's played so much in preseason and playing as a attacking midfielder, just behind the only 4.5. So I'm sure some of you already have it on teams. It's perfect enabler. And let's see what happens there. But I do expect Brighton to win this one. I think Brighton's squad are at the moment just better than what Fulham can put out. Even Raul is slowing down as well. He's getting old as well.
Right. I think some of the players here could be on the radar for FPL images, like you mentioned, D. Cooper at 4.5 million. So that can be a potential. Arata is someone that people are also looking at, and potentially, if let's say he's playing up front, he's playing out of position because he's being classified as midfielder at 6.0 million. So that can be enticed. Welbeck is someone that I eyeing when FPL live at the beginning 6.5 million, but now there's potentially risk is not starting, so we might not go there. And for the Fulham side, I think a lot of attention for Anderson, 4.5 million, potentially DC monster for Fulham side. That's why people are looking at that. King, 4.5 million, could entice manager if you are going cheap as your fifth enabler in midfield. But they always uncertainty when the likes of Andreas Pereira, Carney, the Tom Carney, and there's
Mifro.
potential. Yeah. So, but it is, and if let's say 4.5 million, King can lock his spot in this Fulham side. Sessegnon classified as midfielder, not so much thing, because if let's say he's in defense, maybe he could provide some value. All right, that's about Brighton versus Fulham. Let's go to the next team, which is Forest and Brentford. A lot of attention to Forest players. Potentially, they could keep clean sheet against Brentford, who are in transition in terms of managers and players, and there's a lot of uncertainty in terms of the loss of Yuan Visa. So I think, Min, what's the latest news for both?
Right. So for us, you got Sangare who was injured for most of last season, and then he's back. So he should be perfect to play alongside Anderson. And the problem with Forest, for those of you who read, is preseason wise, their defense is as strong as ever, but their attack has been even more hopeless. But we all know that with Criswell, it only just takes one chance and he'll convert it. So I wouldn't rule them out so easily. So Ndoye is there. So Ndoye is to be replacing Elanga. So Nuno is really particular in terms of how he's purchasing and really make sure it's just a like for like. So on the Brentford side, so they've decided Wissa is not going to play because he might have, he might move on. So but the thing is, when you look at that team, it's not great, is it? Of course, you've got Henderson there, but if I were to compare between Henderson and Xhaka, who was bought by Sunderland, I take Xhaka any day. I think Henderson, it's just not the great of purchases, especially for a team like Brentford, who are in a state of flux, having lost some of their big best players, Flecken as well as Mbeumo, as well as Nogard. So you're almost looking, and with Wissa not going to play, that's quite a few of almost all the key players are gone. So under manager Keith Andrews is not great. I'm really worried for Brentford this season, and I think Forest should still win, probably 1-0, but it's still a Forest game.
Right. On the defensive side, I think Forest can offer some value there. Brentford, nobody going to any of their asset potentially. I think if let's say Thiago can secure his place up front, but if let's say Utara coming in, so there's potential risk who's going to start. Thiago at 6.0 million. Damsgaard, who I feel will be on all set pieces because Bomon's not there. So Damsgaard at 6.0 million can offer some value, but cover a cheaper one. I think it's 5 or 5.5 million assets for Brentford. So he also can offer some value. 5.0, sorry. Yeah, 5.0. Kelleher is the one that potentially is still coming back into the training, but Case Andrew did mention we'll see whether he's going to start. So there is some doubt there whether he can start this match against Forest. I think that's the news that we can share. I normally call him Relo Williams is and Sales is the best backline Forest can offer at this junction. All right, let's go to the next team news, which is Sunderland versus West Ham. Sunderland is a newly promoted team. So there's a lot of players coming in, so I'm not sure what's the latest lineup could be. But West Ham is another team that potentially some value that people are looking at if Bowen, Fulcroy, and so on. So what's the latest news for both teams?
Yeah, so again, in terms of Guyo, whether or not he play, I don't think he's ready. So I think my end, what you see there is great. Adingra from Brighton has come in, and I think he'll be quite important to the team. Sunderland, they've got Renildo as well, a fullback who's also been checkmarked as a possible FPL option as well.
Mhm.
Okay, so on West Ham, they pretty much fit except for Somerville. I don't even know who Earth is. I'm sorry, West Ham fans. But Fulkrug, who played a lot in the preseason, apparently now has stepped up. If you remember him last season, he was complaining. He was didn't get enough match time and was injured and just didn't perform when he was given a chance. But seems like they figured it out, and I got to give credit to Graham Potter and it's not that Graham Potter starts the full season. I think West Ham could very well improve. So they've also got Diouf, really attacking wing back and also appearing in a lot of FPL teams. Bowen, the only problem with Bowen is now that he's listed as a striker, but I don't think that it will put people off enough. There's people who still think. The only thing is Areola probably avoid because they've already got the new keeper in for Leicester, and although Areola will still keep his place for now, it looks like he will have to let go his place soon. So don't pick him up. I've looked around on a few websites, and there's at least one or two who are predicting Sunderland to win this match. So it'll be very interesting to see whether or not that be the case. I, however, think that with Graham Potter having a full preseason with the players, and if he can convert Fulcrum into a better player, I think he will figure out how to win. So I still predict West Ham win this one.
Oh, wow, it's a big statement. But Sunderland would like to impress their first league match in the Premier League against West Ham. Sunderland really invested a lot of new players coming in, and I think Zaka is the one standout players that Sunderland could offer in this lineup. We shall see. I think this is an interesting match. The Hammers, and I think another enabler that people also looking at, if you're not sure about King in Fulham, Potts at 4.5 million in midfield for West Ham could potentially be another enabler. He also starts regularly during this preseason, and we shall see if it continues. All right. Next match is Spurs Burnley. There's a lot of eyes in terms of Spurs asset because they almost win it Super Cup. They led 2-0 and then lose out to 2 goals from PNG for the last 10 minutes of the game. And there's a lot of more potential in terms of Spurs asset, not so much on Burnley. But what's the latest news for Thomas Frank? He will be first in charge for Spurs this match.
Well, I hope that Spurs will able to get over it because this is a match that they should start and should win. So you got Solanke returning. So even though the predicted lineup still has Richarlison starting, and to be fair, Richarlison did do quite well in the Super Cup. I felt so. Whether or not he'll come in and immediately usurp Richarlison, I don't know. I think that Solanke will still come in as a sub. I don't think he's quite ready yet. So you got Kudus there, but I think they're also being linked to Eze as well. So there's going to a few changes. So of course with Kudus in, people picked up Kudus in their FPL teams, but Johnson maybe not. What's tragic for Johnson is that if I remember correctly, he was Spurs' best goal scorer, or in terms of GA last season. But somehow because the style doesn't fit, or because he's not exactly great at defending, and in this game the predicted lineup has him playing on the left, so I don't know whether or not he's that effective. I have talked to a few Spurs fans who say he's not likely to be.
Mm.
You remember, and for those who watch the Super Cup, halfway through, people already putting in Poro, Romero, Van der Ven,
Mm.
trying them
Mm.
out in
Mm.
their
Mm.
FPL
Mm.
teams, triple up, only for them to concede. Yeah, so that's annoying. But so they need to sustain it. But of course, putting into context, that was PSG. So I know that just because Chelsea defeated PSG doesn't mean it's in one final doesn't mean everyone else can do the same. So I don't think people should worry too much. If you do have Spurs defenders, I think they should get a clean sheet in this one. So feel free to pick it up. Burnley. So Burnley. So we have really nothing to say. You got Dubravka was supposed to come in, yeah, and no word on him either. Esteve as a cheap 4.0 pickup, but they don't look great at all at the moment. And looking at Spurs' power with people returning, even there's cells there as well. So the problem with Spurs' front line is basically the minutes, because they got quite a few options now. So chances are 90 minutes is going to be hard to come by for any one of them, which means if you want to go for Spurs, go for the defenders.
Yeah, I think one players coming up rapidly now. Intention for managers is Pedro Porro. After that, Madison potentially out for a long
Yep.
time. Porro could come in and take all the set piece duties, and at 5.5 million, he could be the number one that people are looking at. I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, potentially he could be the best player in terms of Spurs. If not, you could go the likes of Romero 5 million or Van der Ven of 4.5. I think that pretty much that. What Richarlison will share minutes with Solanke, but not Solanke could actually be the first player that Thomas Frank will play over Richarlison. Can they play both? So I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about Richarlison, 6.5 million, Spindler could pay dividend. All right. Next game, which is Wolves versus Man City. There's one particular or two particular players that mentioned by Pep Guardiola during press that will not be involved in Gameweek 1. So what's the latest news mean for Wolves and Man City?
So Wolves look like they're okay. So it's just a case of whether or not they perform. So you got Matheus Cunha no longer there, the Spanish guy, I can't remember his name. And also Nelson Semedo, their captain, also having left as well. So a few key problems for Wolves. And they had one of the worst preseasons. But there is quality there, and I'm confident that Pereira will turn it around, will get it right. But this not this game lah. This I think they're gonna be not gonna be good enough. So City looks like Vardiol and Kovacic is out. So Vardiol, who may have turned up in everyone's initial drafts when they first FPL first launched, is no longer around. Most and Ait Nuri is the possible option instead. So Foden will travel. Foden's starting to feel like a forgotten man, with this. Kesian dia, okay? I do feel that, he's one of those unfulfilled talents, but because he's in a squad full of talents, so it's hard for him to get some space. So you got Chirku, Doku, Rangers. So Rangers, who scored a brace in the one preseason match that Chelsea had, and as a result, he finds himself in a lot of teams. Haaland, a bit fallen from glory a bit in terms of ownership. I think it's only about 20 plus this season around. But he's, something to do with the lineup behind. Okay, so Cherki and Rangers, you got Silva who's getting old. Gundogan is pretty old. Rodri is not available, so but he will travel. But we don't know he'll play. Maybe he'll be on the bench. It's
One name is not there. Mamouche. Are you surprised?
Mamouche. Yeah, Mamouche is not there. Don't know. Yeah, so but I just think that we got City may have some issues, but I think they'll still be too strong for Wolves. Wolves are in a bit too much of a flux, and someone like Ait Nuri who's going to bombard in every opportunity and also cross for Haaland. So it looks good for City.
With Guardiola mentioned will be ruled out from this game one, and you're thinking whether to all in for Anuri, I think this news will be a key one for many also thinking Anuri. So yep, if you're interested, and I still remember Hafiz thinking about Guardiola, his team draft. Hopefully he run through the team news and take him out now.
Okay.
All right. Next team, Chelsea versus Crystal Palace. In terms of both team, Chelsea has not had a long preseason. They only have 2 matches, but Crystal Palace on the high side because they recently won the Community Shield. But their players are in terms of transfer target. So what's the latest news for both teams?
So Chelsea, fresh off a win in the Club World Cup, and so now Colwell's out, so Chalobah and Tosin will most likely be the centre back pairing. Lots of hype in terms of Palmer and Joao Pedro, who are now the top 2 owned. I haven't checked the last couple hours, but they should be the top 2 owned players in FPL at the moment, with Palmer topping. And no surprise really, because they have decent run of fixtures, and their form against the form has been good of late, but it's still pre-season form though. So the only thing is that with Joao Pedro is the issue of him and Dilap. So for me, I think that Pedro will start, but and Chelsea do look better with Pedro in, but I don't know if it's because they just look better or it's just they have to change the style of play to fit Dilap. And Dilap did score in the last game. Dilap did score 2 goals after he came on for Pedro, and Dilap came earlier to Chelsea, and when he started, he has scored for Chelsea as well, other than the 2 goals. So my worry with Joao Pedro is that all it takes is one match where they lose and Pedro doesn't score, and then the next game Dilap comes in. It's and even if they win, the thing is Pedro will still share minutes. So with Pedro, you're definitely not looking at X minutes of 90. So you're just hoping that Pedro in 60 plus minutes, 60 to 70 minutes, he will do something and get something before he gets subbed out. For those owners who are happy with that at 7.5, then that's fine. Me, I had him in my first draft, and I no longer have him. Palmer, of course, no issues there. 90 minutes most times, and he could step up. Of course, he only burst into flames at the finals of the Club World Cup, and whether or not that form, his old form, is well and truly back, well, let's find out. But based on the ownership, a lot of people believe that his form is going to come back.
Great stuff,
Sorry, just on the Crystal Palace one. So that Guehi and Eze were both rumors of subject transfers, but they've remained professional and continue to train. They didn't absent themselves. So
do you think there's possibility that these 2 players will be leave out from the squad?
No. Yeah, I feel that Glasner would have told us if there's issues. It's a bit like we saw with Keith Andrews. Yeah, so I do think that they will continue to start. And the thing is, with that squad, Mateta as I do feel that it's strong enough to give Chelsea a run for its money. I don't think we should think that this is an easy gate for Chelsea. I think Crystal Palace are fresh off the win in the Community Shield. 2, they probably pissed off at having no longer being able to play for Europa League, but now have to play for the Conference League. So I do think Crystal Palace, this is a London derby, so they're gonna make it hard for Chelsea. I know there's the midweek matches for the qualifier for the conference. What was that? What's
Conference League?
Europa Conference? Yeah. So, but I don't think it's something to worry about. I think Glasner will know what to do so that his players won't feel fatigued. It is still early in the season anyway.
Yep, Chelsea Palace, this is the potential lineup with Colwill out. Tosin and Chalobah should be the partnership at centre back. I just want to read out in terms of quote by Maresca that people are highlighting now in the community that Tosin could be potentially a pick because Maresca did mention in terms of the centre backs position for Colwill, only two players that can play in that position, Colwill and Tosin, and without Colwill, Tosin will be the number one, and he last year we played 64 games. We played 64 games with Levy and Tosin. The only one that can do that job well is Tosin if Levy is not available. So people are trying to look at that can be potential. I didn't realize Tosin at 4.5 million. But if you want to go there, but more attention in terms of asset is Sanchez in goals at 5 million. All right. Chelsea versus Palace. Two team news to go, man. Let's go next one. Manchester United and Arsenal. This is Super Sunday game. This could be a blockbuster game because, as you all know, Manchester United has signed at least three new players up front with Mbomo, Matheus Cunha, and Sesko. Whether Sesko is going to start, I'm not sure what the manager has been telling. So, what's the latest news, man?
Right, so this is a good one. I mentioned that this is the match to watch. So Martinez, Mazraoui are out, but when you look at the squad, it's Bayinda, Onana. Could Onana come in? I think it's possible. So other than that, it's going to be pretty much the squad that we expected to see. The only question now is whether or not Sesko will be ready. Yeah. So
what do you think?
The problem is Cunha as a false nine is not great. He needs someone playing in front of him. I think that he will play.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think he will play, and yeah. So the thing is, if he does play, then Ugarte gets bumped off. Now Ugarte has been quite bad in preseason, so Bruno Fernandes will go back into the deeper role, and Cunha and Bebo will play behind Sesko, but Sesko probably only about maybe 65 minutes or something like that. I do think he will start. And because any other match, other opponents maybe not so bigger, but for this one, I think they're gonna try to get him to be ready to start. On the Arsenal side, Gyökeres, who did get some minutes under his belt with Arsenal.
What do you think in terms of Gyökeres' prospect? Do you think he can also start this game, or Kai Havertz coming in first?
No, I think Gyökeres will start this one. Yeah, Havertz was returned from injury, so yeah, I do think that Gyökeres will actually start. He can start this one. White, Gabriel, Saliba, Luis Kelly, a bit of a question, but the thing is, for FPL purposes, you really should be, if you look at defender, it should really be only Gabriel or Saliba in the defense. Saka, Gyökeres, Martinelli, Eze has also been linked to Arsenal as well, so let's see what happens there. And if he does come in, it will definitely go for Martinelli. The thing I want to point out now, aside from Newcastle's midfield, that looks like a really strong midfield for me. Odegaard, Zubimendi, and Rice. Zubimendi and Rice, Odegaard, not so much. If he should be playing further forward. But Zubimendi and Rice together could be really pivotal for Arsenal. I really rate Zubimendi quite high. So I'm expecting goals in this one. No clean sheets.
All right. I haven't read so much, but Gabriel is predicted to start first liner. I'm not sure whether he's available in terms of fitness. What do you think, Gabriel? Can Gabriel start?
At one point, he was in my squad. Despite the bad fixtures, because Gabriel can score. He can score against City. He can score against Liverpool, so it's not an issue. But
you know me, man. You know me, man. Gabriel is one of my beloved players for the past 2 seasons. I did start last 2 seasons with Gabriel, and I the first one I kept Gabriel all season. But last year when Gabriel had his injury, so we moved him out after the week 31 or something like that. But now he could potentially start, so he could be one that people. But I think why people are not talking so much in terms of Gabriel as a pick, because Arsenal fixture for the first 6 are kind of bad. But we know Arsenal, in terms of defense division, they are the best in terms of XGC. So I think if you're thinking that Arsenal can be a prospect, but I think there's not much love at this early season for Arsenal defenders. Alright, last team news. Leeds versus Everton. Everton has signed up some new players, especially in terms of Jack Grealish, but Leeds United also has been shopping in terms of their players. So what's the latest news for both teams?
So, what a shock! DCL coming to Leeds, yeah, but of course,
Ooh.
this afternoon, so whether or not he'll come out, this is the Monday, so it is possible that DCL suddenly turns up against Everton. So Bogle will be a late call. So Bijol is suspended. So the one that expected to replace Stroik in the centre back position there. On the Everton side, so what do I want to say? So the question is going. Ndiaye was a very popular pick at the start when these people started drafting their teams, but now it's come to a bit of a doubt though, because you've got people like Grealish coming in and KDH coming in, so it's a how it affects Ndiaye as well, where he plays, because KDH definitely looks like if he's going to play, he'll play as a number 10. But then where does Grealish play? So Grealish plays on the left. So that's a bit of a confusion there. So does that mean maybe it's not about them starting, but they end up sharing minutes? I'm pretty sure that Ndiaye will play. It's just a case of whether they share minutes or he has to move in a different position. So it's a question. And I don't want to forget that even McNeil is still there. Beto, I'm not sure he's the best person to pick because they have what's his name? Barry. They have Barry there.
Yes.
Yeah, so Barry might start instead. Yeah, so it's a tough one. So Moyes didn't say that those players might not come back, but Mykolenko coming back, is the only one of note there. There's also so we were talking about defenders and defensive contributions and stuff like that, but there's also a statement by the refs about how they're going to clamp down on some of the holding during set pieces. Yeah, so that's a tough one. And I find it ironic. And the reason, yeah, exactly. And the reason that I'm remembering it now, because I believe there was an accompanying picture of the article, and it was a picture of Tarkowski hugging someone in the penalty box. So it's something to think about as well. I don't like this match as well. I think it's not going to be as easy for Everton as people think it is. But they could still win because Pickford's one of the great keepers. But with Brentwaite out, that means Keane comes in, and we know that Keane can be quite diabolical in terms of his defense. Yeah, so it's going to be a close one. Leeds could win.
Yep, I guess this could potentially. I think it's a big blow for Dave Moyes because Brentford has been confirmed to be out, and Michael Keane is not exactly the like-for-like replacement in terms of that could be the one that we are looking at. But I will not be surprised if Tarkowski and O'Brien partner in centre-back and they play someone like Patterson if he's ready. But here we can see there's some players being flagged, inclusive of Patterson and Mykolenko, whether they recover or not. But it is a Monday match. There's plenty of time in terms of recovery, as we say. So Grealish could come in straight. I feel that should be the case, and
definitely he can come in straight.
Yeah. So Grealish could be the key man for Everton and play their part on set piece duty or on from the left side. Share, but Beto sharing minutes with Barry might not be.
I'm a bit upset that McNeil doesn't seem to be in the conversation of late. I do feel that he is someone of quality, but it's a case of where he gets to play, because when he scored 2 goals for me, he did play at number 10 at the time.
Great stuff. I think we have already run through all the team news, and we have some rough idea how the lineup will be for each team. Before we go to our team main, just look at the latest market odds projected goals and clean sheet from Serlio Analytics, visual by robtFPL data from Pinnacle. So we can see there in terms of the highest potential goal scoring match. No surprise, Liverpool are predicted the highest this week with 2.67 goals. So minimum 2 goals against Bournemouth. I think that's what we are feeling also. The second one is Spurs. Surprise, surprise. I'm not sure, but at least it's because against a promoter side, Spurs has some good players at least in their squad right now with Kudus coming in. If let's say Solanke he could be the one that you look at, and Pedro Porro could be on set piece duty. And then after that is Man City 2.09 and Chelsea versus Crystal Palace with 2.02. In terms of clean sheet, highest odds keeping clean sheet this week is Spurs at 46%. So there's no surprise. Picture of Pedro Porro there. It could give some value in terms of on attacking sides and clean sheet. So I think that's what people are looking at. So Spurs. The next one will be Man City keeping clean sheet at 40% away to Wolves, and then Bournemouth, Liverpool against Bournemouth, third highest into giving clean sheet at 39%. So these are the odd markets, man, which you feel the one we should consider.
Well, the Spurs thing is great that they are the second highest in terms of goal scoring. It's just trying to pick the best attacker for that is going to be it's almost impossible. And so because of the shared minutes they eventually look like they're going to get, and we don't even know how the structure is. Although they did do well against PSG, but in that case, in that midweek, for example, Johnson didn't even play. For example, so you would expect him to play this one as Frank tries to work his team and how to get the best out of his team. But it just means all that uncertainty makes it hard to pick players. That's why we go for the Poros and Bedevans of this world, and to some extent even Romero because he scored. I do feel that Crystal Palace. Wait, is that 1.07 or 1.87? 1.07.
1.07.
That's so disrespectful to Crystal Palace, considering they went on a good run towards the end of last season, and now they're expected to just bend over for Chelsea after they, managed to overcome Liverpool. I just feel that's just, I don't know what these market are thinking about here, but I think that Crystal Palace is going to be a much tougher fight than it looks. Yeah, so I'm sure they got Juan Pedro, but what else have they changed? What else has Chelsea changed? Other players in the team are almost the same, if I remember correctly from the lineup. There's no changes. Yeah. If anything, they get rid of Finch players. Leeds versus Everton looks so close there. See what I mean? So that's going to be really tough, and tipping Leeds to slightly better odds than Everton in terms of goal scoring. Other than that, Bournemouth 0.95 as the second worst expected score. I disagree. I think Bournemouth will score against Liverpool. They still have the firepower. It's just the defense crap.
Right. Other things to point out, close also in terms of goals odd for Villa and Newcastle, so they potentially could score a goal each for those teams. So maybe stay away from that match. At least on paper, they are tough. Advantage against Sunderland, Brighton potentially scored 1.7, maybe 1 goal or 2 goals against Fulham. So there's potential. Manchester United versus Arsenal. Arsenal slight advantage from goal scoring despite playing away, and Forest slightly over than Brentford, 1.5 goals over 1.18. Although Brentford can potentially score a goal, I'm not too sure of that, but Forest can be really excellent in terms of defense playing at home. Okay, CK did ask us a question. Hi CK. Hi guys. Which combo I think the best? Kelleher, Tosin, and Martin Rogers, or Sanchez, Richards, and Dyer? Richards, I think, from Crystal Palace. Kelleher is a doubt now.
It's close, but I'm gonna say The second one because of Kelleher.
Yeah, I think I agree on that. I think second one, Tosin can easily. I don't think, despite that statement, Maresca could actually potentially play Hato and Chaloba, and then after that, then Tosin could not be an option. But Rogers is an interesting one. But if I may
Yeah.
say, I think that the second one is more intense because more security. Sanchez, Ndaye, and Richards.
So
Right. Let's go to our team main. My team first. As you all know, my from our mid-week preview, I did mention about activity in my bench boost, but now I not play that chips. It's because there's a lot of uncertainty, and my combo keeper Kelleher and also Verbruggen Kelleher are potentially not playing this game because he's just back into the grass. So I'm thinking whether I should push for it just for the sake of BB. Getting other from familiar like Sam and Petrovic, but they're playing some tough matches against Liverpool and also Man City. So I've decided at this juncture, we still have like half an hour more, not to play bench boost and play the template team. I think in goals, I go for cells. I want a forest cover and I do not have them in terms of defense, so I go for that cells. I go big at the back in terms of two players, Frimpong at 6.0 million and then Cucurella from Chelsea. I just want to go attacking in terms of those two. And I know Azmin they mentioned Liverpool might not keep a clean sheet. I might more optimistic on that. Preview point potentially against Crystal Palace, we did look at some of the stats, two shots and chances created. So I feel Frimpong could be the one. Bradley might be out. It could be another 3 weeks or after international break, but I will think of that when Bradley returns. And then Van der Hen, I don't go for Poro because I just think Van der Hen can also provide value. As Spurs has said, I trust Thomas Frank, 4.5 million. I think that's the best, and I will rotate with Konza who are on my bench right now. Newcastle and Aston Villa has some excellent fixture for the first 6 game weeks. And Steve is just 4.0 million enabler in defense. I have Dubravka also from Burnley. So I will touch on my strategy later. In midfield, I have Ndaye, Mo Salah, Kudus as rep from Spurs asset against Burnley, Palmer and Martin Rogers who have been declared fit from Unai Emery that will play this game. So Villa have some excellent fixture. Watkins up front and then Wood, not Pedro, as like Azmi mentioned. Even though I'm a Chelsea fan, I do feel if let's say Pedro and the lab share minutes, potentially any time. If let's say Pedro not performing, the lab could come in and starts. And this game week, maybe Pedro starts. He could score, he could blank, but we know Chris Wood will always be there playing 90 minutes or 80 odd minutes. So that's what. And forward 4.5 million cheap for, Mark Gray as my upfront. And from here, BB game week 2 could be a potential if let's say Dubravka and ST potentially declared fit for game week 2. And then Konza away to Everton if I'm right, and Mark Gray playing against Burnley. So if let's say Burnley concede, probably from Mark Gray goals. So I think that's thinking in my mind. But for now, I think this could be my team for game week 1. Min, any comment? Yeah.
You want Guyo to score against Dubravka in game week 2. That's,
I, I don't know if
yeah, yeah,
potentially English so maybe. But
yeah.
at this
But
juncture, BB might not be
yeah,
potentially
I
maybe an option. That's all.
I honestly think even in game week 2 you shouldn't BP. I feel I'd want some bit more stronger players there. But okay, never mind. So for game week 1, yeah, I think it's pretty much you all set. You got some players I'm not happy with, like Ndiaye, but then if you are, then it's good. That might be my Everton bias. It's normal.
Right.
Rogers, you need to be confident in terms that he is ready to start. Yeah, I was a bit worried
Okay.
about that
Right.
one. And also Van der Ven, I originally had him at first, but I chickened out because of his history of injury issues. But
Okay.
so hope he remains fit for you. I love. Okay, on the Frimpong bit, I actually had him in my team despite me thinking that Liverpool wouldn't keep a clean sheet because of his attacking. I do feel that he's quite as attacking as TA, although he doesn't have dead balls, but he's attacking enough compared to the other three that he may get at the very minimum an assist. So if I were to choose a defender for Liverpool, I would still choose Frimpong as well, not VDB.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's see when Gui comes in. So yep. And your Gui, what are we missing here? Your captain. Okay, your captain is Salah. So yeah, that's fine. Welcome to the
Yeah, I
cells.
did mention about Palmer, but in terms of odds, looks like Liverpool gonna score big against Bournemouth. So I'll go for Salah, I think.
Yeah. So I just want to say the only player I really don't like in here is Kudus. But that's your
Fair,
deal. Yeah, no
fair,
worries.
fair. I think you can see there double up in terms of Liverpool, Frimpong and Salah, double up Chelsea, Cucurella, Palmer, double up
Quite a
Spurs
few double
attacking
up.
Burnley, Van Kudus, double up Forest, Sales and Wood, and triple up Aston Villa, Watkins, Rogers, and Konza.
Amazing.
So
Okay.
yeah, I didn't realize that also until I see this image. So for now, this is my team, but I think it's possible for the next half an hour, right? So man, let's go to your team.
Okay. So I need to share my screen,
Yeah.
right? I'll share my screen. Okay. So I have moved previously thought that I'm going to go first. Can you see the screen already?
Yeah, I'm showing now. Yep.
Can see, yeah? Okay.
Yep.
So it sells still at the back, Pedro Porro, Cucurella. So I have with you on Cucurella.
Ooh.
And I've got cheapies, Decoper, and Doof because I've chickened out of the other expensive. So only one really expensive, one premium pick in Cucurella. Then I have Salah Barnes. Barnes is my pick simply for that Villa matchup. I will figure out what to do to him after. Then Saka. So Saka is the biggest difference I
Yep.
made. So I upgraded from Words, bring in Saka, then Adingra, Fulkrug, and Haaland, of course. So
Hmm.
so I have decided to go with the Salah Haaland thing. I do think Haaland will do well and start off well this season. And the fact that I also upgraded Words to Saka means it's got 3 heavy hitters in my team, which means I've had to skip a lot elsewhere. So Adingra, who from Brighton joining Sunderland, who I think will do well, and Fulkrug as well, who has shown in pre-season that he's finally stepped up and is ready to do the job for West Ham under Potter. So that means my bench is extremely weak. Dubravka, like yourself, I've gone for Arias for Wolves, Renindo, and Mark Gui, just like yourself. So the Sunderland players for the second week against Burnley, so be obviously, and Arias also can come in after the first week. So I've captaining Salah and vice captaining Saka. So that's my team.
Right. Great. You're going different and you're getting that Haaland Salah combo. I like it because you need to sacrifice somewhere, but you're still able
Yeah,
to feel the likes of Saka, Haaland, Mo Salah,
yeah,
Pedro Porro, and Cucurella there, and going at least some of the good defenders there, and then just taking part in terms of Barnes, Adingra, and Fulkrug away to Sunderland. He could be a nice value at 6 million. I think I like it, and potentially in future, if let's say you decided to move these players around, you can decide whether you want to distribute the money from Haaland or Saka if you want to improve the midfield. I think
yeah.
that's what's.
So I just want to point out I have such a unlike your team, my team is so diverse that I've got one-offs of every team except Sunderland, who I have 3.
Oh, right.
So Cells, Forest 1, Spurs 1, Chelsea
Yeah,
1,
yeah,
Brighton 1,
yeah.
West
You
Ham
have
2.
two. You have two. All right.
Yeah, then Arsenal 1, Newcastle 1, City 1. So originally at one point, instead of Barnes, I actually had Rangers for City, but in the end, I went back to my philosophy I had from last season, which was keep to more people who have been in the league and are more proven. Uh, So the only two newcomers to the league that I put in are D. Kuiper and Diouf. And even that's because they were the cheaper ones. So so that's why I no longer have words. I decided to stick to a proven FPL assets. Obviously he can come in and explode like Haaland did. Yeah, but because Salah's around, I think there'll still be a bit of spreading the love. So that is mine. So Adingra, Barnes, they've all been in the league. Pedro Porro, Cucurella, all proven FPL assets. So I decided to play safe and stick to the try and tested FPL assets.
Great stuff. Good luck to your team. Are you locked your team or potentially there's some movement?
Locked. I'm okay. So by the way, guys, it's only 25 minutes before deadline, so I'm still scouring, see if there's any team news, but so far we haven't. There's nothing significant. But if you do any, make sure you make into a coin. But otherwise, for me, that's my team.
All right, good stuff. Let's go to last before we wrap up. In terms of our FPL Jedi Show Mini League, everyone is invited to join. The league code is zwxrhj. No numbers inside there. Imagine. So normally they have some mix up in terms of letters and also numbers, but this is what it is. And do join our community. And starting next week, we will preview all the teams, especially the top 10 in our league. Hopefully, the likes of Azmin, the likes Hafiz could continue and try to make it into the top 10, because you're now, this season, will play in the top 1% league competition, and for myself in the top 10%, which is the new format that FPL introduced for the top tier managers. I think there will be an interesting one this season. What do you think? Top 1%, how's it feels?
Yeah, it's fine. I just hope I'm not at the bottom 100 of the top 1%. But it'll be fun. I'm happy to see. Hope to see me move on from last season. And as a bit of a last word, I did say that when our previous stream is that my aim is to finish on a rank that's better than my team number, my FPL team number.
Something, right?
So so it's in the teens. So hopefully I can get. Let's see how we go.
Right. Thank you guys for joining the stream, and I would like to wish all the best, because the season has just started. 38 which we will face in terms of FPL. Enjoy the rest of the day. Hopefully, I could actually wake up to see the Liverpool Bournemouth match, but we shall see whether that can be true. And until then, see you again in FPL Jedi Show live stream. Take care, guys.
Good luck. Bye.